All right, so this is a suggestion via a channel member. The name of the video is The View Melts Down Over Morning Joe Meeting with Trump. Does it surprise you? Not really. It shouldn't, right? Let's go ahead and check it out.
So with that, we bring in Joey Jones, retired Marine Corps Staff Sergeant, Kimberly Strassel, Wall Street Journal editorial board member, both are Fox News contributors, and Jose Aristimuño, former DNC deputy press secretary and co-host on Americano Media. Great to have all of you with us.
All right,
let's start by this, because not all the folks
from left to right
out there on The View, shocking, and I'm sure, were so excited about this attempt at rapprochement. Watch this.
Okay.
I will never sit with him. I don't think I'm going to have to. I don't think I'm going to have to make a decision.
I've heard a lot of folks on the left coming after Joe and Mika saying, don't normalize him. Well, 75 million plus American voters normalized Donald Trump by making him President-elect Donald Trump.
I don't think you need to sit down for 90 minutes at Mar-a-Lago and kiss his ring to be able to speak truth.
Kimberly, I thought this was fascinating. I thought that the very...
You mean your truths, because unfortunately your truth doesn't equate to the truth of the 75 million other people, all right? You mean your truth, but either way.
Scripted statement today by both Joe and Mika was also interesting in how it played out. What do you make of all this?
Yeah, it's not kissing his ring to actually act like a journalist and decide to cover him, with neither favor nor fear. Simply treat him like he's any other president, point out the good stuff, point out the bad stuff. I mean, it's been really good to see some of that change since 8 years ago. And I think one of the things the press has realized is not only has it undermined public confidence in the press as an institution, hurt a lot of these outlets, but that they aren't even helping the goals that they seek to help. And that if you look at what the press did this time around, the ceaseless hostility to Trump and the endless praise of Kamala Harris, all it did was allow Democrats to live in a fantasy world where they didn't change direction despite the mood of the country, and then they lost in a landslide.
Yeah. I mean, that could definitely be said on the other side also. So make sure whenever you do encounter someone saying what you just said, be fully aware there are two echo chambers in reality. All right, but let's continue.
Didn't change direction despite the mood of the country, and then they lost in a landslide.
Yeah. And Joe, another really important piece of this is that the American public did not care what many of these members in the media said. They made their own judgment, their own decision based on what they wanted to change in their own lives in terms of who's in the White House.
Yeah, the overwhelming majority.
That's the way it should
Sorry,
be.
that was for Joey. And Jose, I'll be right with you. Go ahead, Joey.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
All right, let's go.
Listen, I think when you watch those clips of him at UFC, we talked about this on Fox and Friends Weekend all weekend.
Yeah.
There's a guy back there in the background of the group named Jelly Roll who took the absolute music industry by storm. And I don't know if he likes President Trump or not, but he doesn't care to smile and shake hands with him and take a picture with him. And he's like this ultimate redemption story. This is a guy that was in prison, is a drug addict, turned his life around, and now he's on top of the world. And I think to a lot of people in this country, that's what President Trump is. It's not that he's done something horrendously wrong, but it's his redemption story. He didn't win 2020, and he's back in 2024, more popular than ever, no matter what they've thrown at him. And I think people like Morning Joe see, hey, listen, if we continue to just throw things at this guy, we're going to ostracize ourselves. You're not going to ostracize him. You're not going to...
Guys, the beautiful thing about what he just stated is that when he references Jelly Roll's story, he says, okay, Jelly Roll went through all these things, basically the Rocky story for the most part, right? The underdog, and now he's on the top of the world, right? In fact. But yeah, does it matter that he may or may not, in fact, agree with every single thing that Trump says? No, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you can be in the same room as someone you may not politically align with and be completely cordial. I think that's what we all need to kind of learn about. I think this whole scenario here. We need to be able to, regardless of someone's political ideology, we need to, no matter what, be able to be in the same room, be cordial, and act like humans, bro. Okay, we need to go back about 2 decades back when politics didn't destroy people's families and things like that, guys. All right, but all right, let's continue.
Turn the American people or their viewers away from him. If anything, they've turned them towards him, and I think some people just want to stay relevant.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a really rough time in the ratings. They have to try something different overall at these other cable channels. So, Jose, I'm curious what you think about this. Should all of these journalists, reporters, analysts sort of give a grace period and say, let's hope for the success of the new president and of the country?
Yeah, that's what's needed.
I do. I think that's the approach that they should take.
Yeah.
I think it's time for the great American reset. I think we should put our differences aside, both Republicans and Democrats, and
I say this every day.
President-elect the best. There's no way that President-elect Trump will be successful if he does not work with moderate Democrats and moderate Republicans. He's got to get it done. So I'm optimistic about the tone. Who would have thought MSNBC and Donald Trump sit down for tea at Mar-a-Lago? It almost looks like a fantasy movie.
Friends, yeah.
But I think
I wasn't surprised at all.
You know what?
But I think I'm optimistic where things are going.
That's great. Jose, I just want to play this. This is some of the young male voters at that event. And I just think we have to continue to listen to voices out there of what people think and what they say. Watch this.
Saving our country. I don't got no taxes on my tips now.
Well, I mean, where did you get most of your news and information?
Most of the information I got was from Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan, a legend, man.
Yeah. Yeah?
But mostly, like, social media.
A lot of podcasting.
Yeah, like who?
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Do you think it was a mistake for Harris not to go on Joe Rogan, or do you think
Probably.
Our kids are important, guys, and if we're not teaching them well, if we're not teaching them about credit, if we're not teaching them about how to get a home eventually, and all we're talking about is racism and, trans and gays, which, like I said, I'm all good. Like, you do what you do. Just don't force on people.
And I think that's the overall thing, right? Truthfully, I do not think that America is just anti people liking the same thing that they are, basically. I'm not sure that we're just anti that. I think the issue here is that you can do that, no problem. But the minute you start telling me about it all day long, in graphic detail, right, the more you continue to push it down the throats of the average American, what happens? All right, you're then going to start having issues, guys. You're going to. Like, look at the rise of people who are now saying online, oh, I don't like this type of thing, let's say, right? But it's just like, bro, it was never like that before. Like, everyone knew this guy right here likes guys. Who cares? Let's move on, right? But when you start making it so that's the only thing you're now starting to see in like every single TV show for some reason and movie that pops up, every series, it's just like, bro, this is not the majority of the population. Why are you telling the majority that this is what the majority wants to see? It's not, obviously. If that was the case, their narrative would have won this year. It didn't, though. So listen to this man.
I said, I'm all good. Like, you do what you do.
Right.
Just don't force on people.
No one cares, bro. Do your thing.
A really super quick thought here before we move on.
Well, look, I think this gets to the point that traditional media, people ignored them this year, and the candidates, Donald Trump in particular, were smart to go around them and listen to the folks that were getting ears and eyeballs, and those were folks like Joe Rogan. You got to go to the people where they actually listen and talk, and if the media can't figure that out, it's going to have many more years of declining ratings and readership.
Yeah, and I think longer form conversations, it's nice to see a return to the desire to listen to longer form things and to read longer form things because we've become such a clickbait soundbite society. So thank you all so much.
Certain generations.
Jose, Kimberly, Joey, great to see you all. Great coverage this weekend, Joey, on Fox Weekend. Thanks, you guys.
All right, guys, listen. I definitely was not surprised that MSNBC were the ones who actually went and spoke to him specifically. Why? Because MSNBC, in fact, the ratings have been terrible. I mean, really bad. So they obviously realized that the people that may be watching their opinion pieces, let's say, right? A lot of these people are business owners, and what you start to notice is that when someone is like a business owner and things like that, they tend to skew differently politically. So when you start saying or start like almost exclusively espousing left-leaning type of things, you're going to start ostracizing your viewers. It's just a reality. Specifically, whenever you get into like finance and things like that. That is just what it is. Okay. And I always knew that channel as something you would watch when you want to get some stock information type things or business oriented things. So that was kind of an important thing for me personally, and the fact that MSNBC is now one of these channels who I think is up for sale or something like that, or they were trying to sell it pretty recently. So yeah, they're trying to do anything humanly possible to bring back the fan base that they have ostracized for the last decade. That's what they're doing. Let's see if it works, guys, right? But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.